Welcome to episode 202. Reset. Look at that. Already fucked it up first time.
That took a whole 3 seconds.
Half a second to screw it up. We're honestly, that's like full stride though. Like we're feeling it now. Welcome to episode 302 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Alt. And this is going to be the best episode ever. My first episode as a father of two. What? And also, emergency yikes of the week, a little recap of CSGO Blast Premier Finals, and a plethora of e-news to get to. We have a lot of catching up to do. And, of course, though, before we get to any of that, got to tell you about the show sponsor, Alt. Alt Esports is the #1 esports apparel brand. You already know them as the provider of the very exclusive, very limited edition 101 Burglars hoodie, which in select sizes is still available. You can go to altesports.com and pick yourself up one there. Also, though, if you go to altesports.com on the 29th, so just in 2 days of recording this episode right now at 12 p.m. Pacific, you can find a highly limited quantity hoodie with 1,000 crystals on it. You got the bling, Anuj.
Like it'll blind you. If you're somebody that enjoys going for long walks, possibly in dark areas, I promise you this will be a lifesaver.
Like, it's I can never say this, Swarovski. You know that brand?
Yeah, the crystals.
Yes.
How much does this hoodie cost?
I don't know, but let me tell you what, Anuj, because in none of their tweets does it say how much the hoodie is, meaning it's gonna be a pretty penny. But let me tell you what, if you're gonna spend a lot of money on a hoodie, don't make it a tie-dye hoodie that you could have bought for, a reasonable price, but you ended up spending a lot more than you should have. No. Make it a hoodie that has 1,000 crystals on it, and then you will get your money's worth. Go to your next LAN in style, and you can do that altesports.com.
Hey, it's Simple from Navi, and you're listening TCR.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring Esports Podcast, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast, presented by Alt. This is episode 302, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, January 27th, 2021. The time, 9:11, never forget, p.m. Central Time. This is going to be the best episode ever. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. The Discord is in the link description there. Our website, tcr.gg, has a couple new blog posts, so go check that up. And everything else you need to know, tcr.gg as well. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, is my best friend, my brown friend. It's Anuj. What's up?
It's never been so nice to see your face, Tim. It feels like it's been a year, dude. It really feels like it's been a long time.
So we take like the holiday break, which is like a 2.5 week break. This feels like 5 of those. Like it's only been a week.
Because the holiday break, there's so much going on that is like planned, right? Like planned activities, what to kind of expect, but you're busy with holiday stuff. This week was like a little crazy for both of us, and you in a very different way, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all the kind words from all of the listeners out there, all the ringers out there. Ended up having baby number 2 for those who maybe not keep up on Twitter, which you totally should though, at the Center Ring. But no, it was pretty much, we did the interview with Ryan from Rush B Media, and that was Monday night. And it was
Yeah.
funny because during that interview, before we started, we were joking with him, like, hey, dude, like, joking, but not really, like 100% serious, but, also, haha. I might have to dip in the middle of this because, like, my wife is, like, in labor as we speak. Like, she is feeling it right now. And we were done with the interview. We did the episode and played a little bit of Star Wars Battlefront because what else would you do when your wife's in labor? And I was like, all right, going to bed. Probably having the kid here any minute. And sure enough, like 2 hours later, my wife wakes me up and is like, hey, it's happening. So rush to
I
the hospital.
do wish she could have been more supportive of the show and did it while we were live.
Think of the content that would have produced.
Like it really would have been something, like look, I'm happy she's healthy, I'm happy baby's healthy. I'm happy there's a new little Tim in this world. Little disappointed how close to like game time she kind of backed out here.
Yeah, no, I don't, I don't disagree with you, Anuj. I thought she could have timed it a little better. A little upset that it happened on WoW start day. Like, it
Yeah,
completely
that's tough.
got me off track for
Like
everything now.
right in between, like right hours before restart happens and right after the show ended.
Like, I was planning on running some Mythics Tuesday morning before it shut down. And I was like, well, no, I got to get some sleep, might have a kid. And so she kind of goofed that up. Now I'm way behind. Like, I don't even know where to pick up where I left off on WoW. Might as well just start a whole new character and start fresh. But no, everything's good. It was a very long week. Like, we spent 5 days at the hospital, which is 5
4
days
days
too
too
long.
many.
Like, that's
Yeah.
brutal. We spent 5 days at Disney World for our honeymoon, and it was much different. Like, to spend that same amount of time at a hospital in a hospital recliner, which, by the way, I got like the hospital bed bugs or something. I have bug bites all over my body, Anuj.
Oh, that sucks.
If Twitch wasn't such prudes and I could show you my naked body right now,
You can pull it down 50% of the way and you're okay.
unbelievable. If I was of a different type of streamer, I could show you and get away with it.
It's funny, Kelly and I were talking about this. She goes, what would you do differently for the second baby? Like knowing, if we're at the hospital 2-3 days or whatever. I said, I don't care what it costs, but I'm buying a memory foam pad for the bed that they give you.
So funny you say that, Anuj. We had, like, I brought all my pillows, all my blankets. Like, I was good to go. Like, I'm going to be comfortable this time around. Walk into the door with my pillows and blankets. They are, no. Can't bring any of that in because of COVID. I'm
what?
like, but I'm coming into the hospital. Like, I'm bringing my body into the hospital. But my pillows is what you're worried about?
That sucks.
It made, like, it was one of those things where it's like, you know what? If I wasn't exhausted, I would be arguing with you right now, but whatever. Like, you're a first responder. You're a nurse. I respect you. I love you for everything that you're doing in these times. This is a weird hill to die on. The no pillow rule is when I'm staying in the hospital for 5, and the reason we were in the hospital 5 nights typically does not last that long. But my son had some issues. Spent 4 days into the NICU, which is like the intensive care unit for infants. Not a fun time, but like Anuj said, everyone's home, everyone's healthy, so we can all laugh about it now. But
everything worked out.
Everything worked out. So everything's good to go. He's good to go. It was scary at the time, made the nights extremely long, but like I said, we're home, ready. It's incredible every time, if you have a kid in general, but especially if you have to spend a week in the NICU. It is amazing, Anuj, that any of us are alive. The amount of things that can go wrong, like, let alone in life, but just in childbirth. How did anyone do it before technology that we have now?
No freaking clue.
Like, how did cavemen?
The thing is, you don't even know about those things until you're in a position to know about those things, right? Like, it's insane.
Like, how did cavemen have babies?
I'm very, very lucky. Like, everything was just right.
Like, that's why
I do think about that too. It's crazy. Like, that's like a shower thought, right? Like, how the hell do they like have kids without any of the technology. Like, I mean, we talk about like prenatals, like they're everything, right?
Yeah.
Well, sure as hell that thing wasn't around. They weren't around even
Like, I
100
at least
years
had my
ago.
Switch
So
in the hospital. Like, what did a caveman do when his wife had to stay for like 5 days? Just
they
play with
like
a rock?
had the baby pop out and make him go to work 2 hours later,
Like,
probably.
that's why they needed like 12 kids, because only like 2 were making it. Like, it's ridiculous
It is.
how
It's insane.
amazing technology is nowadays. That's a boomer thought. I feel like that's something old people think. Kids
Now
are like,
that's why it
whatever.
amazes me. Like, so for those of y'all that don't know, my wife's a neonatal nurse practitioner, works in those units that Tim was in, and I hear a lot of the horror stories too, and it's just that's when you said you were going into the NICU, my heart kind of dropped, and then you explain what was going on, and
Yeah, we were in
so
it, but we had it easy. Like, in
yeah,
retro, like,
yeah,
as a parent, you're not thinking it at the time, right? Like, all that's rushing into our heads is because, of course, the doctors are like the worst bedside manner ever. Like, bro, my wife just had a baby. Do not tell her what bad could happen right now. Just
no,
only keep,
no.
like, let me fill you in on a little secret. My wife ain't having it. Just give her happy thoughts, okay?
Like call me outside of the room to tell me
Right, you
something
could
right
tell
now.
me I'm okay with it. Don't tell my wife who just had a
Yeah.
baby. You tell
She's
me, and then I can
already
translate.
very hormonal right now. Like this is
Exactly.
not the
Like,
time.
don't do it. So, but it's good. Everything's working out. Like everyone said, like having 2 babies, easier than what I thought, but still, like, you don't have a second to step away.
No, I know you wouldn't though, like because I have just with one, I'm like, okay, now let's times this by 2.
Yeah. Like all those times that
No,
you step away, like this show might be 5 hours long just so I can have 5 hours to myself.
like we're gonna just record like a mini series,
Yeah.
little mini documentary.
Yeah.
Lord, dude. Well, you know what? I'm happy everyone's home, happy everyone's healthy, excited for you guys, excited to learn from you guys as you go through this journey here, and
There's
man,
a reason you don't see pro gamers with 2 kids. Like, I feel
hardly
bad
even see
for
him with one.
like I feel bad like when Taz from Virtus Pro had a kid, or Pasha. Like all of
Yeah.
Virtus Pro back in the day when they started sucking and everyone was like, "Man, what's going on? Did they win and now they don't care?" No, no, no. They all had kids around then, and now I totally get it.
100%.
Like, if
100%.
like it's when I started this podcast, I was dating at the time. I wasn't even married, let alone having 2 kids. Had I known then what I know now, I would have been like, guys, like, what do you think is up with VP? They have kids.
Like the fact that they're even winning a tournament is like huge news.
Unbelievable. It's
Unbelievable.
like,
Like
I get
truly
it.
godlike performances for them to come out with
Yeah,
tournament
just
wins.
give them the trophy, right? The fact that they had time to get here, just give them the trophy.
Like just getting off the plane is a victory.
Right. I get it. I get it. So what's going on with you?
I'll give you the quick 1 minute rundown here. So right when you're going to the hospital, my father-in-law tests positive for COVID. They are our babysitters for those of y'all that don't know. So that's been fun on the days that
Hmm,
Kelly's been going to work. I've had to use PTO on a couple of days here this week.
pretty selfish of them.
Um, and so he
The
is now
nerve.
doing better. But just a few days after that, my Kelly's grandma had a stroke, so she ended up in the hospital with no visitors allowed from our side of the from her side of the family because everyone's in quarantine, including us. We saw George, 2 days before Kelly's dad, 2 days before he tested positive. So we all quarantined for 12 days total. We're doing or whatever here, and yeah, grandma had a stroke, and Kelly's the only one allowed to see her because she's vaccinated, but nobody else is, and everyone's in quarantine. So it's been like a crazy few days. Like it's just been like nonstop. And it was like, of course, all of it would happen at the same time,
Right. If that's
like
how it
the
works.
COVID and like, testing positive and then that happening. And it's just one thing after another. But the good news is everyone's on the rebound. Grandma's been discharged and no major side effects from her stroke. And father in law is no longer testing positive and nobody else has. And so
So let me
here we
ask you
are.
this. Because she's healthy, I can ask you this question. Did it have anything to do with seeing Nip's rebrand?
Dude, that was I think the sole reason. I mean, because I called her and I was like, Grandma, you won't believe this shit. Nip rebranded, which, look, if you want to rebrand, that's fine, sure, but you're an iconic brand. You better come with your A game. I didn't know they partnered with Razer. Like, what is this?
Let's
And
get
this is
into it
leading us
right
into our
now.
yikes of the weeks here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
This is an emergency yikes that we're getting into here. And yes, Nip rebranded, which that's a yikes in itself. Okay. It could have been a great rebrand, and I still would have been like, no, why? Like, you're an iconic brand. Maybe you can clean it up, like clean the edges a little bit, but you've gone like full on neon green, and it just, the thing is, it's not ugly. Okay, it's not like an ugly rebrand. I actually think it looks okay. I just I don't like it. I just don't, it doesn't feel right for them to change it up and like to go so drastic. At least Evil Geniuses, when they did it, they went to a shittier version of what they had, it felt
Mhm.
like. Still, but kind of like the core color scheme and all that was there. Complexity had a huge rebrand, but theirs in my mind was better now than it was previously. Like theirs looked very outdated. Nip kind of kept the same logo-ish kind of looking thing, but like just made it like bright green or whatever
I was
that
gonna say,
color
what
is.
if they kept? This is what I don't like about their rebrand. Right? Is the color they used is chaos. Like even chaos commented on it, saying like, "Did you see the comments on Twitter? Pretty funny.
No.
A lot of orgs and pros making fun of them for it. Like, it was not like you think it was bad. A lot of even like other orgs were making fun of them for it. But even Chaos just put question mark. They replied with a question mark because it's like they used the little suction ink tool to just pick up Chaos's color and then put it on their logo. And Chaos is such
Yeah,
like a unique color that it's like you really shouldn't have more than one. Like it's
like three of these. Yeah, it's just, it's like, again, the color is not even, it's not like I feel like this is a bad color or something. It's just the whole, it's too different. And Nip's been around for 20 years. Like, people don't realize that. Maybe you just heard of them in the last 1, 2, 3, 5 years, but like Nip's one of the oldest esports orgs we have. They were founded, I think, in 2000. I think they've been around for 20 years
you
exactly
want to
now,
know how
21
bright
years.
this color is? Look at my face. I'm on their website and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of it.
Let's do it at the same time.
I
Look
mean,
at
it is
mine.
like our faces are changing color just because their website is so bright with that yellow. Yeah, yellow green. I don't even know what it is. I wonder what people would think had they just changed the logo but kept the colors.
It just would have felt right. Like, I mean, again, you don't see Fanatics and Evil Geniuses and these guys, like when they're changing it up, they're really just changing the logo design a little bit and tweaking it. And I don't know. I didn't see the need for a complete company rebrand. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense to, it's just something that, look, my jersey was worth a lot more to me now in my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it holds a little special place, but like they better come out with some fire
I
merch
feel like
if
this
this
is
is
why
your
Get
color
Right.
scheme. Like,
This is why Get Right retired.
just put him in retirement.
Like
He quit from Dignitas just because this was annoying him so much.
he was actually going to sign again with Nip, and then he saw like they were like, yeah, let's hey man, let me show you this. This is going to come out here in a couple of weeks, and he was like, oh, I'm actually
This
gonna
color also annoys
retire.
me, like on, in the sense of, I shouldn't say annoys me, but like if all your merch is now gonna have this color, like it's okay as a one-off color design and it's something bright and it's like cool and you can, in fact, Alt has like a sweater with this color, but like it's a one-off. It's not gonna be like the only
Right. Well,
sweater
and I have
that
a
they make.
sweater of similar colors. The color, it's
Yeah,
just
it's just like all of your merch is now gonna be around this bright ass color, and I don't know. I'm just biased, Tim. I'm a Nip fan, and
I know. It hit close to home.
yeah, it just doesn't feel right. So, anyways, that's my yikes.
It's what's the over and under on how quickly they just change it back?
I don't think they do.
You
I
think
don't
they
think they
stick with
do.
it? They don't pull an evil
Yeah.
genius and go back?
No,
Or
I
even a
mean,
Dignitas and go back?
they're too big. Like this is a big move when you do it at their size. Like it's not. I don't think they do. At least not right now. They'll come back with some throwback crap later on, I'm sure,
Right.
and like do it here and
That's what I
there.
think you'll
But
see, like a Dignitas change. Like they'll stick with this for maybe a year or two and then go back to at least the same color scheme. The logo might stay, but the color scheme is gonna go.
maybe if they don't win anything, they'll do it.
Oh well, that might be
maybe
like in a week then.
yeah.
That might they might change that sooner sooner than you think. My emergency yikes of the week, Anuj. I wish we did this in person so we could hold each other though, because DreamHack tweeted out their 2021 plans, and guess what was not on the list?
Dallas.
Dallas. 2 years now.
Three for me.
3 for you because you went to a wedding. The first year it was in Dallas. Last year was obviously postponed multiple times because of COVID. And then this year it's just straight up not on the list. I still think that's probably COVID related. Like it's, maybe the convention center.
100%. There's only one NA location, I think.
It's Atlanta.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to be a little honest here because in my mind, I never thought we would go this year because it's not like COVID is gone. So even had they announced it with like a newborn and then other young kids obviously in the house now too, would you have risked going to an event with like 3,000 people?
I think I would have gone. I wouldn't have liked it. Like in my head, I'm like, man, this is a bad idea. This is like when you just are drinking and you're like, I know if I take one more shot, it's a bad idea, but you do it anyways. I think that's where I would be at. Like the whole time I'd be like, this is so stupid. I can't believe people are going to this. But yet I would also be there in the middle of it all because
like,
it's
what if they
DreamHack.
mandated like gaming with the mask on?
Well, first off, I was planning on wearing a mask regardless of COVID before COVID even happened because I get sick at DreamHack every year anyways. Like I have the immune system of something with a bad immune system. Like I just get sick all the time. But
I'm sad, but I'm not that sad. I don't think I would have gone this year had it been local.
I
guess unless
shocked.
they did it like in November and like we're all vaccinated or something by then. Sure, but if I don't have my vaccine, I'm probably not going to a convention.
It would have been nice had they done it though, and then like, you know what, guys, we're also going to give you like twice the space so you're not near each other.
Like every computer is 6 feet apart.
Right.
It's exclusive, and TCR we're giving you your own booth.
Yeah, that would also be nice. But it's a shame to see. I guess it's like you said. Would we have gone? Probably not. But at least give me the option.
2022 will be the year. That'll be the return.
Yes.
We're going to do a live broadcast from the venue. We're going to I think we should do something big for like a 3-4 year.
Well, that's the shitty thing, right? It's like we've always wanted to do the live broadcast from there, but it's like you didn't go the 1 year and then the last couple of years. So
now with the cam links and all this stuff, it's
so
also
easy.
It's so easy to do. Like we can do this no problem.
Yep. So we will make it happen, Captain, one way or another. And I think our buddy still said he can host us at his house for our own TCR LAN party. So we have to take him up on that before he has a kid, because I think our friend who is pregnant, who doesn't have a kid yet, is one of those, it won't be that difficult. Like, we guys could still come over when the kid's here. Like, he'll just be in the other room. Like, okay.
To be fair, you don't know until you know.
Because that's how that works.
Yeah.
Your wife will watch the kid while you have 10 dudes up there just playing WoW and Valorant all day. Okay.
Oh, and by the way, after 8 p.m., everybody has to shut the up and not make a damn peep. Because if you wake him up, you're putting him back to sleep.
In fact, maybe that's the best time to have a LAN party, when multiple people, it's like, hey, okay, Nuge, it's your turn to go change the diaper.
That wouldn't be the worst way to do it. That's one way to get approval from the wife.
Yeah, right. What if they all feed him? What if we all take turns feeding? We're all up anyways all night. So probably not actually, you know what? Maybe we just created like a LAN daycare, DreamHack daycare, where we'll watch your kids because we're going to be up all night anyways. So yeah.
There's only 35-year-olds going to DreamHack.
Don't know how many moms are going to trust Bunch of neckbeards with their kids, but you know. No, so there you have it. Emergency yikes of the week. We just felt like sometimes there's enough yikes where it's like, okay, we got to address this, especially after having a week off. No DreamHack Dallas and the NIP rebrand was definitely warranted. I'll give one more last. It's a very tiny yikes. Actually, it was going to be a much larger yikes, and then they ended up going back on it. Microsoft and Xbox Live.
That was rough.
That I don't understand. So for those who might not know, Microsoft announced that they are going to up the cost of Xbox Live going forward. And you think, okay, like Netflix, well, it's going to be like $5, $10, what's it going to be for a year? So right now it's 60. So it's like, okay, $70? No. $120. They straight up doubled it.
Stupid.
Like
I don't know what they were thinking.
Now they
First
have
of all,
since,
to do that right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what are you thinking?
Like in a time where it's like, and I will say, in the grand scheme of things, on paper, that's $10 a month, right? Like, you could mow a yard for one time a month, get $10, and you could essentially have Xbox Live. So I understand, like in a minuscule sense, it's not that big a deal. But look, you tell anything, right? A gallon of milk is $2. If all of a sudden I go to the store tomorrow and it's $4, I'm gonna be like, what the shit just happened, right? Like, you doubled this. What's going on? So it's just the principle of it. In the middle,
it's also a shitty move to him because they announced this after the consoles are out. Like,
right?
You waited for people to make their choice, and Xbox has obviously done well during this console war that's going on. And your competitor, by the way, their online platform is free. You're not paying anything to log on to Sony's online platform. And then you wait
for most games. You do have to pay, but like for free to play games, and I guess that's another thing, is on Xbox, which I never knew this because obviously we don't have Xboxes. But free to play games are not free to play. You still need Xbox Live to play like Fortnite and things like that online.
Yeah, you still have to have the online
I had no clue.
Which this is all they've reverted now,
Yeah,
right?
so they reverted.
They've gone
it's
back
now
on everything.
They're like, hey guys, we're gonna give back to you. We're gonna make it $60 a year, and those free to play games that you've been paying for, they will be free to play. So if anything, like Microsoft kind of goofed themselves up. Because if they would have just shut up and not done anything, people would have still continued to pay $60 to play free-to-play games.
100%.
But this just brought light on the bigger attention of like, hold up, you guys charge people to play Fortnite? Like, what? No one else pays money to play this? So, congratulations, Microsoft. You played yourself. Idiots.
They really did. I mean, they really did. Like, in the ultimate sense, you've lost money. Again, it was a shitty move, so they deserve to take a hit in my eyes.
Of course, yeah. Like
how there was no reason for it.
How this got through the boardroom and thinking, yeah, you know what? Double it up. Sure, that will react well. So, oh well. I guess for those Xbox players, congratulations. Still only $60, and I'm sure for a lot of people, like there's a lot of free to play games out there now to where you could almost just get away without having Xbox Live. Because I'm pretty.
Yeah.
Is the new Halo free to play?
Online, I believe.
Am I high? Did I read that? This last week seems like a blur.
I thought the online multiplayer would be free, but if you want the rest of the game, I think you have to.
But again, I mean, free multiplayer. That's 99%.
I think that's what it is. We'll know more soon. We'll get into that in the news, but we'll know more.
I'm pretty sure I read that. So much is a blur. So much. Also, sitting in the hospital for 5 days, Anuj, I've bought so much dumb shit.
Amazon's been your best friend.
Oh my god, the amount of collectible comic books that I have bought. I also have, I lost them. Oh, here they are. So a little teaser as I'm reaching for it. I got these. I bought these. Not gifted, so there'll be an honest review, but I'm going to make a video here coming up, just for everyone to know. Follow us on YouTube. The Centering on YouTube. I have these Epics official. Have you seen these online?
Mm-mm.
So these are cards, collectible cards. CSGO, ESL, Pro League teams. So no Cloud9, no Envy, but you got the teams here. So they're cards. So I'm going to open them up, review them, do a quick video, see what it's like, and go
Did
from
you
there.
buy that online or?
Yeah, bought it online.
Interesting.
Yep. So 120 cards. We'll see what's up. But you know me, I'm a sucker for collectibles. So we actually had a listener, Connor, point them in my attention, saying, "Hey, I know you like cards, and these guys are coming out with Counter-Strike player cards." So I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. See
This
what.
is the first step into addiction, Tim.
Wow.
And next, I'll see us turning into Pokemon card
Bro.
opening stream.
I mean, look, you know me. I have comic books and cards. And first off, though, I will say this is one box. I might be in the minority here. The joy of collecting things is ruined for me when someone spends like $10,000 on Pokemon cards to open them. Like, someone who spends $10,000 and then gets a Charizard, I'm like, well, you spent $10,000. I would hope you would get one.
Like something.
Like,
yeah.
what excitement comes from that, right? Am I like, I don't have any enjoyment of this new craze of people just spending like
Pokemon cards to me are stock right now.
so like
That's all it is.
like for this is it. So I actually like I collect Pokemon cards and Yu-Gi-Oh and I play it whatever. I'm a virgin, I get it. But like now I can't even do that. Like I can't just go to Walmart and just occasionally, oh, we're shopping and oh, you know what? I'll pick up a pack today. Whatever, $2.
No.
Sure. What? Because I very sparsely bought them. It was just more or less I just wanted
spontaneous buy.
Tap into my childhood and open up a
Yeah.
pack of cards. I can't even do that now because a bunch of these nerds are spending thousands of dollars and just buying out every stock for the sole purpose of then going out to resell it. And I don't like it, Anuj. I don't like it.
Give it time. This Pokemon thing will fade. People have gone crazy, and it drew a
Yes.
lot of hype with
And all
that
these
big scale.
morons that are spending thousands of dollars are going to quickly like have a harsh reality back down to earth when they realize the Charizard they got for 15,000 is going to be right back down to 2. Like,
Yeah, I mean, like it'll still be worth good value, but not anywhere near what they are right now.
no, not
It's
at all.
insane.
Not at all. So that's my little rant. That's my rant as a collector myself. As I don't appreciate the people who just open up boxes. It's not very fun. Okay, so let's get back to esports. Because we had the closest thing we had to a major so far with the Blast. What are they calling it?
Premier Global Final 2020, Tim. Easy.
That's a mouthful. The Blast Premier Global Final 2020.
Let's just call it the BPGF 2020.
Yeah, there you go. That wrapped up over the weekend, and I was able to watch it a little bit in the hospital, catch some replays here and there. But Anuj, from what I saw, this, like we said even prior, I remember saying, like giving the teaser of it, that this is going to be the best CS tournament that we've had probably since all of 2020 at this point. Like if you look at all of last year up until now, this is probably the best CS that we've had.
Like not even close. This was the most exciting event. First of all, it helps that Blast all of last year was doing events leading up to this event, right?
Right.
So I thought Blast had a good run throughout the year. We kind of talked about it early on, especially their like first stages and all that they did. Drew a lot of hype. Like they were good events that they did. We enjoyed them for what they were, but it was all leading up to this. So this is naturally going to be better than any of those you would hope. But yeah, even compared to any of the other events that were out there online, whatnot, I really thought this felt very major-esque, like watching. Like I felt good about Counter-Strike watching this because Counter-Strike's had a tough time, as we've talked about on the show 50 times over the past year, that it's just been a tough year for CS. This event was awesome. Like it really lived up to the hype. And you talk about the teams that were involved, obviously, from your Navi's, Liquids, Astralis, Vitality, Furia. Like it felt good to get all of these teams in play, and it felt good knowing that most of them have had like now rosters that have put in some time together and hopefully kind of had a chance to gel a little bit here. But I think we should kind of just start a recap from the beginning a little bit and not really dive maybe too far into what happened early on. But there were a couple I thought notable moments for me, Tim. the G2 Furia matchup that happened day one was awesome. G2 took that matchup 2-1, but for Furia, they had a stand in, and people now know him. He is a known player now, but it was Honda, one of the best Deagle aces I've seen. It was so insane watching him. I thought that matchup in general was really exciting just because the play styles for those teams are drastically different. And seeing G2 with Nico and Kenny and Hunter and these guys kind of all together after a little bit of time, I was excited to see that maturation process and see what came of it. They started off hot. They didn't finish so hot, but it started off with a bang for me day one.
You know, Furia is one of those teams that always kind of stick with me because of their contract signing, right? And even since we've interviewed Ryan last episode and how he thought Complexity was kind of a bust with their signing, we never got a chance to ask him about Furia. I wonder what he would think of Furia signing. I would almost assume he would think they're a bust as well, even though I think you and I are both on the same page that I think both Complexity and Furia would be happy with their roster spots and where they have fallen. But yeah,
we disagreed with him on Complexity, and I still do. Even going back and seeing all their you know match standings and how they kind of did. Like, yes, they didn't win enough trophies, but his goal was to build a very competitive team. Take away what's gone on recently, just because of the whole poison situation, and then OBO. Like, now they're in a world of hurt right now. But I do feel like what Jason Lake was able to accomplish was pretty phenomenal. Like, you built a consistent top 10 team for the whole year, and that's what you said you would do, right? Like, create a juggernaut. People are saying, "Oh, you should win every tournament if you're talking about juggernaut." Well, shit. Cloud9's called Colossus, so let's see what they do. After 2021, and then you tell me who's winning. I feel the same way about Furia. Furia has been a top 5 team throughout most of top 10 team for sure throughout all of last year. Probably the number one NA team, quote unquote, even though Brazilian. Most of 2020, I feel too, right? Like, Liquid had slipped off. EG had their moments where they were up and down, up majority of the time for them, but Furia was a beast to deal with. This is not even their full lineup. Honda is standing in for Junior. Junior is going to be joining them here pretty soon, and he's a talented young guy. But Honda, I thought, was exciting to watch, and he was thrown in there, and these guys did okay, right? Like, they 0-2'd for the tournament. They lost to G2 in that first round, got knocked out by Evil Geniuses, but it's a tough out. Like, that's a tough spot to be in with the stand in, and I thought they played pretty well. Another team, early elimination, Tim. Complexity didn't have the best go of it. They also went up against Vitality and Navi in back to back games. Navi losing to Liquid in that first round threw them into the losers bracket early on. So again, Complexity playing with the stand-in also themselves hasn't really found that continuity recently. But
so tell me then about this Liquid Navi. Like I said, I watched the highlights. I was super excited for it, but I felt like because I wasn't watching live, I just didn't get the same attention. I didn't give the same attention that it probably deserved, because this was Fallen's coming out party with Liquid. So I'm just curious. I know you text me saying, like, this is it. Like, it's the real deal.
It looked so good. Like, so first of all, in that first game, it was Inferno, I think, was the first map they played, and they went up crazy big. Like, they just started off so hot in that. I think it was like I don't know, 12-3 first half. It was a good, really strong first half, and then they were able to close it out 16 something, 16-5, 16-6, and they looked really good. I felt super confident. And then Nuke, I was a little bit more worried about, because that's a map that um Fallen on MIBR, like, they banned, like, consistently. They never really played it, so I was kind of curious to see how they would perform there. Navi's been strong there, so that was going to be an exciting matchup, and it was. Like, that went the full distance. That was a 16-14 finish, and you had, like, the stars, like, come out, right? Like, Simple was simple. Like, he just did everything you would want him to do in terms of carry wise. I'm looking at, he was 36 and 17. He was plus 19 on that map with 115 ADR. and a 1.77 rating out of 2.0. Like that is insane. And they managed to drop that game. And oh, look, I mean, they gave us awesome Counter Strike. It was just exciting to see that level of CS from Liquid so early on with the Fallen signing. I really thought that was a good game for them to get like stomped on, especially that nuke map. Like I didn't think would serve them well. And look, they came out swinging. They started off on nuke, I think like 10-0, and they were able to pull it back for Navi. Thankfully, Liquid closed it out, but really exciting first round matchup, and it gave us a little. I think it gave Navi, and it obviously did something because it gave them that little extra motivation. Because they had to fight through that losers bracket from there on out, right? Like your guns pointed to your head, your win or go home situation, and Navi obviously rebounded in a strong way. But man, that was it was a really good first game. Like as you could tell from my messages, I was hyped.
So I thought this reminded me of something. You know how you were asking, like, what's it like having two kids? Having two kids when they're both crying at the same time, like in their own rooms, is the same exact feeling like when the bomb's planted on nuke and you don't know what site it's on. Like that is the same, like that panic of like, oh God, which one do I go to first, A or B?
Just guess, baby.
That's exactly what it's like having two kids. I feel like Nuke was a popular map at this event, and I don't know if that's because like for such the longest time Astralis dominated it, so maybe other teams were like, well shit, maybe we should probably focus on it as well, and now they're just feeling a little bit more comfortable with it. But I feel like Nuke, just in general, we've kind of saw that theme for at least this event that, that teams weren't as afraid to pick it. It used to be like an insta ban, right? Like Nuke was constantly banned first, just because teams never wanted to deal with it, almost like a train at one time. But I feel like it's kind of
balanced out pretty nicely, and now there's other maps that are obviously being banned more frequently. Astralis doesn't have that dominance that they once had, and so people don't necessarily fear them on it. Like people have caught up to the strategy, and that's kind of what happens in CS:GO, right? That's why people beg for new map pools more often. Is everyone kind of knows the same shit now, right? So there's no more surprises, and I think that's why you see that coming up more. It's probably the same reason why you see Vertigo even coming up more. Is okay, like we know everything now, so
but you know
what's
what?
there to really fear?
I've come around on Vertigo.
Have you?
I used to not like it, but I think I hate playing it. Like it's one of the worst maps to play. But from a spectating view, I've kind of like it.
To me, it's a very Valorant-esque map in the sense that all the action takes place right at these barriers. Like you have the A ramp hit, or B, it's like once they're coming up the stairs. And I don't find a lot of like creativity in that map, and I find it to be really stale myself. I It's better than it once was. I'll give it that, right? Like it has a lot of good wall banging spots, so that's kind of nice to see. But for me, that map still is like a little lackluster. In fact, I probably prefer. I mean, I prefer Nuke over it for sure. Now, there's very few maps I'd actually pick over Vertigo, and I'm trying to think of any off the top of my head. But it's okay as a spectator. You're right. Like as a spectator, it's okay. It's just I find it to be a little boring. It's very like the same shit.
I feel like sometimes you get those crazy plays though, like on the edge and things like people finding jumps and things like that. You get some crazy plays out of it.
Some moments.
Like you said, I guess it's just from a map that like you're still finding new things, right? You're still getting random boosts here and there. That's like, oh, that's new. It's like, oh, that's a new smoke. Didn't know that. But I guess that doesn't solve the issue that there probably just needs to be more maps put in and rotated out and whatnot. But that's for another.
Cash has like been there for months now in the standby pool or whatever the hell it's called online. So
I honestly, until you just mentioned it, completely forgot about Cash.
It was such a big thing that they redid the whole thing.
They redid it all. And I actually, I was always liked Cash, so I wouldn't mind seeing that back in. Just something. I mean, just spice it. It doesn't matter. The map doesn't have to be, and that's like a misconception that I think we have with just gaming in general. It doesn't have to be perfect. not every site has to have these perfect angles to build these perfect storylines for retakes. It doesn't have to be that way, right? It kind of was what makes it. You don't want to make it unbalanced. That's what you want to do. It doesn't have to be perfect, but don't make sure it's not unbalanced.
And Cash doesn't feel like a super unbalanced map. You know, I never got that vibe from Cash that it was
No.
like, oh, it's terribly one-sided. Like teams that were good at it were good at it. They could manage on.
Look,
on
if
both
we
ends,
survived for as long as we did on Old Nuke, I think we can survive on Cash. Because Old Nuke was the most lopsided map in the history of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, it really was. It's like Assault.
like if you were, what was it? Was it very T-sided or CT sided? CT sided. It's like if you lost like 4 rounds, you were like, well, guess that's a GG. Like we goofed, guys. We lost 2 rounds on this side. The other side can get it. But anything else?
If you're Simple, how bad do you want Cash back? That's where his like sticker is on the wall. And now it's not in the game.
You're right. In by Heaven on B site.
Yeah, the drop down.
Yeah, it doesn't even get to enjoy it. Maybe for the next major, since they'll have a year now. Anything else then until we get to the finals that you wanted to bring up?
No, I mean G2 kind of falling a little early. I thought, that was unfortunate to losing to Astralis 2-1. They were at least able to take a map off of them, and then the eventual champs Na'Vi taking them out 2-0. I wanted to see a little bit more from G2. I didn't come away that impressed. They had a lot of trouble against Na'Vi. Like they really just got their asses handed to them in that matchup. Nobody looked good in that particular matchup for them. Against Astralis, same kind of deal. Like they had 2 close maps, if I'm not mistaken. Vertigo, they got beat up pretty bad there, but Astralis just looked to be the better team. I thought, and for G2, I was hoping for a little bit more, right? Like I still think they're going to be fine, but I would have liked to see them make it into that semifinals run here instead of getting knocked out when they did. Again, Liquid, impressive start for me. I thought they played really well. It's unfortunate because they did beat Na'Vi early on in the tournament 2-0, but then they got into the semis and they lost 2-0 to Na'Vi at that point. And so Fallen and these guys, they're going to be better off than I maybe thought. And that's an early reaction. Like that's right after one event. But it didn't look bad. Like it looked like they were playing really well together, and at least something to look forward to there. Outside of that, I know we want to jump into the finals. Obviously, the semis. We did have Vitality get knocked out by Na'Vi there. Vitality looked really good, and they had opportunities to win it. They lost Nuke in overtime against Na'Vi. They couldn't really find a way to take them on Dust 2, but Vitality, Astralis, Na'Vi, they're kind of in this league of their own right now. And it's these 3, and it's really like a group of 5 or so after that you could maybe put together. But those 3 consistently are making finals, Tim. Like every single event that I see, you have Vitality, you have Na'Vi, you have Astralis. And it's one of those 3 kind of rotating around. And I don't really see that changing anytime soon. The way Simple's playing, the way Device is playing, the way freaking Zywoo is playing, like these guys are going to be great for a long time.
Yeah, I think for Navi's sake, like this was huge. I've always said it in the past, and it's not the case here, that Astralis doesn't. You don't beat Astralis. Like Na'Vi doesn't win, Astralis loses, right? It's normally like you can point to Astralis and be like, all right, well, you kind of got lucky on this one, or okay, here's where they kind of goofed or things like this. But I got a different vibe on this one. Like I really felt like this was like a mission for Simple and Na'Vi, because it wasn't just Simple. Like Simple obviously performed very well, but like I also saw, guys like Boomage and Perfecto stepping up in certain times, even Flamey, right? We haven't really heard much from him lately, but he was even stepping up. Nuke got a little scary towards the end. A little scary. I forget who was alive. Maybe it was Device with the bomb that planted it with like 0.5 seconds left, right? They definitely let it get a little scary at times, but I think as soon as they kind of held them off, because Astralis was definitely making a comeback on Nuke, as soon as they held them off, it was like, okay, they got this. Like you were able to defend like the mini comeback that they were having.
Yeah, because Astralis went on that run on the CT side where they, went on a what 7 or 8 rounds out of 10 they took right there. I thought what Navi did that was interesting was pulling Flamey from that second match on Inferno and putting Bit in for that matchup. I thought that was like a really ballsy move because you've relied on Flamey so much throughout the years, and that's just showing a lot of trust in your youngster to come in and perform, and they ended up dominating them on Inferno. So it worked out. You're right. Boomich was great this event. They need so much more of that from him, like just consistency. He doesn't have to be the second best player, but he has to play better than he had been playing. And look, dude, like Simple is still on another level. I really don't know how he got like number two. I get it. He didn't get as many MVPs as Zywoo, but that's more of a team achievement in my mind. Like your team was able to get to that many finals to where you could get MVPs. But Simple is like so freaking consistent. It blows my mind. And this event, you're right. Like it looked like Navi. This meant a lot to them. They have not been able to beat Astralis. Like Astralis has been a thorn in their side for 3 years, just like Astralis has been a thorn in everybody else's side for 3 years. The only difference is it's usually Navi or Vitality that's on the losing end in a final situation, right? And so for Simple to get over this hurdle, for them to 2-0 Astralis and really do it with some ease, right? Inferno was quick work.
Yeah, I would say Inferno was. I mean, you weren't nervous about that at all. I think even like going into the half, they had a pretty considerable, 10-5
It was over.
lead.
Yeah, it was like they felt they were so confident at that
Yeah.
point. It was just not going to happen for them. But it was this was big for Navi. Like I really hope this is the start of something for 2021 for them. Like I would love to have a Navi year, right? We've had an Astralis year, to an extent, Liquid had their year, and we've seen other teams step up and have like multiple wins throughout the year. I want to see Navi in that excuse me, for this year. Like I would love to see them pull out 3 or 4 like major tournament wins and be in, at least a lot of finals. Like it would be great to see that consistency. We'll see with the 6-man rotation, like how they play this and how they move on from this. But really good counter strike by them. Like they just played the game the right way, which for them they get a little chaotic and hectic sometimes, and they were very like poised, and I thought they did a great job. Like they played some awesome CS. Happy they got a W under their belt. For Astralis, this probably feels a little defeating, but another finals appearance for them. Like it's just they're a machine, and we'll see these 3 teams, all 3 of them, Vitality, Astralis, Navi. They'll all be in several finals throughout this year.
I'm glad you brought up the subs because I forgot that they subbed Bit in for the second map. The CS faithful, Anuj, hate the 6-man. Hate them. Every time I see a sub go into a game or a substitution happen, I can almost bet every penny. I can bet every game stock that I have on who is going to tweet something negative about it. They hate it. And I think they hate it more because it's like proving that it works. Like the teams that are using it at first, I think when the substitution idea came into play, like I think even we were like, I mean, you'll see like the lower teams use them out for like a tryout purpose almost, but the higher, like Astralis, all these guys are going to have like their core 5 and not sub it out. And funny enough, it's like the top teams are the ones using the subs.
All 3 of them. Astralis hasn't done it recently, but that's partially because the people that were on the bench for a while, they're finally returned, right? Like Glaze return, and then we
Right.
had Zipnix's return. Like they're probably not going to do too much swapping, but for Vitality, we've seen Navira come in on several occasions and be the best player on the server at the time. And now for Navi to do it on this stage, when they pulled them out in the finals, like it says a lot. And so it's giving these teams some flexibility. It's maybe putting a little bit of, in the sense they can focus how they want to play against particular teams. It's a little cool from a strategy perspective. I'm sure there'll be some tweaks to this as we go. There might even be some rule changes around this as more and more teams begin to do it. But yeah, I think I'm okay with it. Like I don't love it, but I don't hate it by any means.
To me, it's something different. It's something unique. And like you said, it just adds that extra layer of strategy down to it. So I like the fact that it's
It
working.
makes sense, right? Like with the amount of events we have in Counter Strike now, people might see it differently when travel's back involved, and like how much of a difference it makes for some of these guys to be able to take a week off in between a 3-month travel schedule, right?
Right.
Like they get to stay at home for that
Well,
extra.
and even if you
one to
if you
2 week
truly
period.
have that much faith in the sixth man, just to take a map off, right? We can't like, and this is what I always laugh about, how people want things both ways, right? Like we want people to support the players and protect them, but then you have organizations or things set up to try to do that, and all we want to do is knock them down. Right? We want players to help with mental fatigue and be like, guys, it's really stressful. So then they add a 6-man, and then all we do is bitch about that you have a 6-man burning a roster spot, right? But like that's what the 6-man's there for. Like you said, it's just kind of bad timing that you have a 6-man, and it's also the time where you get to just hang out at home and do the least amount of traveling you've ever had to do as a CS pro. But once travel starts picking up again, which, God forbid is anytime soon, I think you're going to see the benefits of a 6-man tenfold now. If you can just take
It's
that
just going
one
to make
extra
more
break.
and more sense. I mean, it just makes sense right now. It will make sense, I should say, when travel's back involved, and it makes sense that they're putting that in place now, because you don't want to just all of a sudden be like, okay, we're traveling, we're back on the road, let's add somebody to the roster. Like right now, you can work somebody in really well.
Right.
Like it's a lot easier to work someone in right now than it would be in the middle of a packed event calendar.
Yeah,
So.
focusing on certain maps, or maybe some teams play a little faster and this player's a little better at defending a quick push, or this player's better at defending a slower push or at faster execution, right? Maybe some players like to have that faster play style and slow, and depending on the strategy. So I like it. The faithful hate it, but I think that's more so because it's proving that they were wrong about it, but that's to be determined. But other than that, like I said, this is really the best Counter-Strike we've seen in over a year. Best Counter-Strike we're going to see in a while, because you have the CS Summit going on right now, and that's been okay, but not the greatest. Like, I feel like, so Summit, they don't get the best teams, right? The appeal of the Summit is always that it used to be in a house. So, like, you got to see these more relaxed, almost behind the scenes-esque type of games where players would jump on the couch and do casting and you get good interviews. But without that, it's kind of just like
It's just another event right now.
a mid-grade event.
Some good events, some good teams. You have Fnatic, OG, FaZe at my BR. Although,
Yeah, FaZe is 0-2 though. So
yeah.
FaZe is tanking to get Twist. That's what they're doing. FaZe is like, how can we tank this to where it won't look bad when we cut someone to pick up Twist?
Somebody needs to tell them that it's not a lottery. It's not a draft. There's no draft coming up here.
They just have to make it justifiable to drop someone. Other than that, I watched Cloud9 NIP today. Cloud9 ended up winning, almost undeservingly so, if you ask me. They are making some dumb mistakes, Anuj. On Train, it was like a 5v3, and they got the site. They have the, like, just hold this. Even the caster's like, I don't know what Cloud9's doing. I don't know why they're pushing. I don't know why they're peeking. Like, you have time. You got the site. Just let it happen. And just dumb. But they did end up beating NIP, the new brand.
Clicking on those match stats and seeing the new NIP logo is triggering right now.
Yeah, it looks jarring even on Liquipedia to be like, oh, this is not, it needs to go back. I don't like it. But, yeah, so I think for the foreseeable future, that's probably the biggest tournament blast that is coming up. You do have ESL Pro League Season 13 in March, but I don't know.
Well, no, you got Katowice coming up in February.
Oh, that's a LAN, right?
Yeah,
Still a LAN?
should be a LAN. It says online actually. Maybe Cologne is supposed to be LAN. I don't know.
I
It
thought
says online on
Katowice was
here.
good. Maybe they were trying to do LAN and it didn't work out.
Yeah, yeah, but best teams involved there again. You're gonna have the top three that we were discussing. Blast Premier Spring is kicking off this month, coming up in February as well, February 4th. So Blast is back into production, already, and then in March, we get into the ESL Pro
On the
League and all that stuff.
4th. That's next week.
Yeah, next Thursday.
Enjoy your off season, boys. You have one boy. Talk about fatigue. Talk about, and you know what's funny is is this the same TO? It's the same. Normally you're like, oh, ESL is just messing around with Flashpoint by scheduling things back to back. No, this is Blast on the same calendar, back to back. You won a championship and then you're starting off the spring next week. Kind of ridiculous.
That'll end right when Katowice is starting. So
All right.
busy month for these guys coming up here.
All right, ridiculous, but you know what? I'm not a player, so I don't have to worry about that. As a viewer, I love it. Run these players to the bone. That's what I say. That's what I say. All right, let's get into some e-news. Are you done? Was there anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Didn't want to jump the gun. All right, let's get into some e-news. E-news, of course, now is presented by our good friends at Philly Esports. Philly Esports, don't let the name fool you. Yes, they are based out of Philly, but they do monthly tournaments and events that you can sign up for yourself, regardless of where you live. You can go to phillyesports.net, check out their upcoming tournaments. They just wrapped up the Hearthstone. Looks like for this month, February 6th, 3v3 Search and Destroy tournament for Call of Duty Cold War. Also, their series, the Ace series, coming up here in a couple of weeks in February. Their Collegiate Rocket League event, we're presenting that as well. So be sure, we'll tweet about it on Twitter and everything like that, but you can check it out, sign up yourself, win some cash, feel like a pro with phillyesports.net. All right. Looking here,
loaded e-news, Tim.
Loaded e-news. I guess that's to be expected after taking a week off, right? Let's start here. We'll just rattle these off, and you stop me when you want to talk about them. Twist is in discussion with FaZe Clan. Kind of just talked about that. Also seems
and we've suggested that a couple of times too. That's one of the few rosters that makes sense. We brought it up to Ryan, last week.
Maybe it's just because we're experts, but that seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, it feels like that's gonna happen.
Yeah, ESIC, ECIE. Oh, damn it!
You should have just. You had it. Why did you go back? I don't even understand why you tried to do more. You had it. ESIC,
I had it.
Go.
I got cocky. I was like, ESIC, nailed it. I'll spell it. ESIC, ESIC, issues sanctions against 35 players, mostly from down under in Australia. That's my Australian accent. Down under.
A ton of teams are going to be affected in the pro scene for Australia. I mean, most teams have somebody that is
still
banned.
Ongoing investigations for NAEU. This is largely revolving around gambling. So betting on games, things like that.
Betting on your team, betting against your team. Like there's a lot. So bans vary, but
now and maybe we could save more of our discussion for later down the road when everything's settled and if it's a big deal. If you gamble on yourself to win, I don't really care. Like Pete Rose scenario, right? If you're gambling that you should win, bro, bet the bank account. I don't care. It's when you start betting that you're gonna lose, which is like
well, that's a huge problem.
That. You should not be like, well, did they ever tell them not to do it? Look, did anyone ever tell you not to murder someone? Right? Like it's just like an obvious thing. Like you don't do it. So if you're betting against yourself and even betting with other games, that's a gray area as well. Like I don't
betting with other games. I don't care.
I don't care, but I could see why they make a rule not to do it. right? Because then you could
I'm
maybe
just
get
saying,
some
like,
cash
I
thrown here and there.
as a fan, that's not the stuff that would trigger me. It's just the
No.
betting
Right.
against yourself. That
As a
would,
league, I could see why they're like, hey,
for
you know,
sure.
we don't need a buddy throwing a game and giving you some money because you helped them bet here and there, right? Just keep it to betting that you're going to win if you want some extra cash on the side. But nonetheless, and we'll save the discussion.
Speaking of ESIC, we didn't throw this in. I didn't mention this in our, excuse me, our blast discussion, but they just fined Vitality because Vitality had the stream going on in the background.
Man, how'd we
live
forget about
during their
that?
matchup. I don't know. I even wrote it in the thing, but I never scrolled down to it on our notes there. But yeah, Vitality had the stream going on, and it was shown on stream that they had the stream in the background playing. They got a slap on the wrist because really there was supposed to be a zero tolerance policy for ghosting or stream sniping, whatever. And they let them off with the $10,000 fine, which I feel like they got very lucky. That very easily could have been a long-term suspension for them, and we're talking a couple of months potentially here. But I think they got really lucky. They said it was not intentional. Information wasn't used. It was just on. Sure,
I don't know how
Vitality.
you can prove that.
At the end of the day, it's Vitality. So this was the fears. If it happened to a big team, are you going to enforce your rules?
Look, if this
the
was
same
Mountain
way?
Dew League, this team would be suspended.
For 6 months.
Like no, $10,000 is a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not, but for like a number 3 team in the world and everything, I assume that
It's not a lot of money for them.
right, exactly.
Yeah, look at it from our perspective. For $10,000, they're paying Zywoo probably $35K a month. So $10,000 is not a lot of money for them.
I think after a couple months, and we can go a little longer here because we forgot to talk about it. A couple months after all this shit went down with the stream sniping and the coaching bug and all that, like what was that, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? You are so stupid that you're going to have the stream on in the background of your little, because obviously it looks like it's in their office building and the players are playing in what looks like a glass, I would say somewhat soundproof booth, which is not uncommon. Like we've been to the Envy's office, very similar style on how they have it set up. However, it's like outside the booths, they have TVs in the hallways and whatnot. Well, on those TVs in the hallway is where they had the game playing. That's what it looked like to me from how Vitality had it.
That's how I saw it. It was like in another area.
So I get where they're like, well, it wasn't. Look, if I'm ESIC, I'm suspending you for at least an event just for being stupid. Like, bro, we just got done handing out mega bans and saying we're going to have a zero tolerance process about this. And then here you are making us look like idiots because you're the number 3 team, number 2 team in the world, and we can't ban you. Like, this is where it's like that gray area of, I don't know if ESIC should only be focusing on top tier so they can treat everyone equally, because I think it's also kind of messed up to where, though, like ESIC has a tough job because what they have to do with their form of punishment is they essentially have to treat top tier CS and like mom and pop LAN party tournament CS with the same rule set and same form of punishment. So it's tough. It's almost like a thankless job to where, if Joe Schmo at your LAN center gets caught cheating in a tournament, okay, they get banned for 6 months or whatever, right? Or 10, like we said, okay, let's use their money for the example, right? Well, if now you're doing this, is it scaled now? Like, are you gonna, if it's a Mountain Dew League team with just, kind of playing, are you gonna fine them $10,000 as well? Is that just like a top tier fine? Like what are we dealing with here?
All this comes back down to being Valve's fault, Tim, because they give no sort of like rule set for anyone to really abide by. So ESIC is figuring out and learning these things on their own. So this is not like an ESIC issue. Like they're also working and employed by these big TOs to do this work, and the big TOs don't want Vitality banned from their events. So
hold on, Nuge. Are you saying there might be a conflict of interest with this?
That doesn't happen in esports, Tim. It's crazy, but for Vitality, they got lucky. $10,000 ban, move on, and this is essentially it's all forgotten.
It's all done, right? Like I said, I would give you a month just for being dumb. And I'm not even arguing that you did use it maliciously. Just for being stupid, though. Give you a month. Former 100 Thieves have found a new home.
I didn't put the team name on there. I just realized that.
It's a team I've never heard of.
I wish I had written it out because I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's like Exterium or Extorium or something like that.
I've never heard of them.
Interesting addition to their squad because it's AZR, Jakeem, Liaz, Gratisfaction. That was kind of the core without JKS. So the fifth that they've added on is from Gen G, Ben Tet. And I find that to be a really unusual fit, because you got these like four, three Aussies and, Jakeem, I think, is somewhere European. But, cool for Ben Tet to get an opportunity to play with these guys. And Kassad is joining them on as coach. So kind of reuniting with the core after leaving Cloud9. So good that they found a home. Ultimately, that was the goal, is they needed to find a home. They were in the same chaos type situation where, a squad that's proven themselves to a certain extent, needs a new place, and here we are.
Chris J has been loaned out to Fun Plus Phoenix from Mouse Sports. He will team up with former teammate Styko, or Sticko, however you want to say it. This arrangement is at least for the next month. Felt like Chris J has been in this awkward spot with Mouse Sports for a very long time, whether it been officially or rumored. Like, he has always been on the chopping block, I swear to God, for like the last 2 or 3 years.
It's true, because he's even been benched before. And it's unusual to like be loaned out. You don't see that like too often, so that's always a weird thing when something like that's happening, especially in a month where like Katowice is there, Blast Spring is going on. Like, it's a busy month in Counter-Strike. So you're right, though. Chris J is like literally on the hot seat 24/7, and we'll see where this takes him.
Valve announced post reset coach limitations and the 2020 Road to Rio Major stickers.
Yeah, so the stickers are available now in capsules for the 2020 Road to Rio. They did reset all the points going into 2021, except if you were a legend status. I think you go in with like 600. Challenger goes in with 300. Contenders with 100. But it is a full reset in getting those leaderboards fresh for 2021 in this upcoming major. And then also a little change to the coaching rule. I tried to get Brett on the line to further break this down for us. Rest in peace. But the coaches and support staff will no longer be allowed in the same room or allowed to communicate with players during the online Road to Rio matches, which is a pretty big change. And I think a lot of this also has to do with what just happened with the coaching violations. I think there was probably some animosity from Valve there, but nonetheless, coaches no longer allowed to participate during matches.
Brett would be so excited to ask every coach what he feels about it. DreamHack Open January 2021. Europe is also underway.
We'll get back to that also next week and see who's qualifying and maybe where we're at a little bit more.
In Overwatch, Jake, the legendary retired player from Houston Outlaws,
Hall of Famer.
If you can't sense my sarcasm, has announced that he is leaving the booth and coming back to professional play. I'm a little confused. He's going to be a player, but also be more of a coaching role. I don't necessarily... Like, it seems kind of weird, like, what they're announcing.
It seems like Overwatch is paying you a lot to bring your face back into the game, is what it feels like to me. Because, like, you don't unretire to come back as a player coach. That's just weird. And it's not like you were a great player to begin with. You were popular and very loved by the fans and did a lot for the game early on. But it's not like you were some legendary player who's coming out of retirement to play again. So, yeah, it's a super weird move, like, to come back as a player, but kind of as a coach in such an undefined way. And curious to see how it works. But for me, expectations are
also just makes it more ridiculous that they retired his jersey.
Yeah.
Just also makes that 1,000 times more ridiculous. Let's run through some of this Valorant stuff as we have a thick Valorant e-news. Nerd Street Gaming announces that they are the official NA operator for first stage of the 2021 Valorant Championship Tour. Makes
And
sense.
that's going on right now. So if you're looking to tune into some Valorant, there are literally games I think happening right this second.
It's like, it feels like it's like an all day, every day. Like if you're wanting to watch EU, NA, not all the games are on stream. It's open bracket. So much like how they did First Strike, completely open. We could have joined if we wanted to. So
if you go over to VLRGG, you can see the matchups, and if there's a live stream, you can click on it straight there and go check it out. But yeah, those are actively going on, so join in.
Split has been revamped yet again. Have you had a chance to play it?
I haven't, but I saw the changes, and kind of intrigued to see really widening up lanes is what they've done there, and not so many narrow choke points. So excited to see how much it helps. I think it will. I think any changes to Split is a good change right now, so I'll take it.
Look, if there's anything that my second born has done is knock me off my WoW addiction train. So if you wanted me to play Valorant, this is the time. Like, this is the time to get me back on that, right?
I started a new character in WoW.
Did you really?
I'm still playing the Rogue. I just didn't want to do the Druid as a second character. Cancel that idea. I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Didn't bring back the old vibes. So leveling up a monk right now.
Okay.
Got to 52 right now.
Okay. I'm not.
I'll see you soon.
I won't judge the fact that your main is a rogue and your alt is a monk.
I want it for PvP. Monks in PvP just seem like so much fun.
They're fast.
It gives me a tank or healer option at least.
Right.
So I wanted something.
I have a monk too. I could get a monk to 60, and we could pretty much just monk it up in PvP. Just
it'll be fun.
Beat the shit out of people.
Very strong.
All right, let's make it happen, Captain. Leaf and Zeta. Did I say his name right?
Yeah, Zeta.
Signed with Cloud9 to round off their roster. So
Leaf coming from CS:GO for those of you that don't remember, but big signings.
Cheater.
Traitor. No,
wasn't he the one? He was the one that on Chaos that Brazil called a cheater. And
everyone in Brazil
hates him.
Hated on him. So, good signing for Cloud9 though. Leaf was he was kind of filling in there for a bit. They made it official, and so I think these are good moves to make up for the quitter. What's his name? Tens.
Forget it. Don't even say his name. Now I'm worth it. Kusta signs with Gen G, of course, coming over from CS.
Gen G CS.
Yeah. So I mean that not a huge change of scenery. Just opens up a different game. And Jampy has announced his move over to Valorant, which was inevitable. Like Valve locked him out for cheating when he was like 2 years old, and he was not going anywhere, unfortunately. So he had the
recently benched on Ents also. And
yeah,
you're right. The cheating thing was the biggest decision maker here, but sad for CS because generally a very good raw talent and had the chance to be a very good player in professional Counter-Strike. We won't get that opportunity, but I think he'll do just fine in Valorant.
EG, Evil Geniuses, announced that they have signed a new roster. Some highlights here. It is mixed gender. So, I mean, geez, off the top of my head, first time ever. I'm sure, I know it's not, but off the top of my head, like, first time.
Not often.
Though Anuj, my team when I was a semi-pro professional gamer in Rainbow Six Vegas 1 and 2 was mixed gender. So I don't want to say I'm a trendsetter. I don't want to say I was ahead of the curve, but we did have a woman on our team. So anyways, Moon Raccoons, they had 2 Moon Raccoons signing, Alexander and Temperature. So as we mentioned last episode, Moon Raccoons kind of broke up, but they're still a team, but players looking to do their own thing. Huge. We were saying we hope it was for worth it. Signing with EG, worth it. Like, that's huge for them, so congratulations. And Potter, which is the female CS analyst that you've probably seen. She was with Flashpoint most recently. I think she's worked some Blast and things like that. She's done a lot. But former CS pro back in the day and now analyst, Valorant pro. Don't know how that's going to work out, but we'll see.
Look, with any other... First of all, it's a big org making this type of play, which is really cool, right?
Yep.
But like with any other roster, I'm in a very much a wait and see how this works out. You know, like I don't want to say my expectations are high or low. Like I don't really have many because I haven't seen this group together. But very curious to see how this works out because it's not something we've seen, at least that I can like also recall like before. In female CS and male pro CS are like at very different competitive levels. And so I would love to see Potter fit right in. And this is like an awesome transition. And I'm 100% rooting for her. But I'm going to be able to wait and see on like, you know, before I say, oh, this is going to be like a fantastic roster. Like I really have no idea.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Just for like you mentioning, the pro side of female CS is already a bar below the male side, and then you take her away from even doing that to be an analyst for X amount of time, then to now be what is expected to be top tier Valorant. The pressure is on. Hopefully it all works out, because I think if it does work out, it's going to be huge, not just for Valorant, but for like esports in general, right? It's been a long
It'll be massive.
time. Like
massive.
I want to get a woman in esports on the show at some time, just to have like a conversation of like, what's it like, right? That's
based on our YouTube audience. That would be a great addition. So.
I think the only women that we have that listen to the show are our moms and occasional wife who accidentally clicks the link. So yeah, it would be interesting.
It'd be awesome if it worked out. It really would be. At the same time, she's got a ton of pressure on her because there are some very talented players out there that are still looking for a team that deserve a shot to be on a team. So curious to see how long they let this ride for if things don't go well or start out well.
Props to EG though for actually doing it, because this
for
also
sure.
highlights teams like Cloud9 who have an entire female roster, and yet their actual main roster had roster spots open, and not once did they look over to their female roster for a sub or a chance to sign one of them over. Not once did that
Which is
thought
not a
cross
knock
their
on
minds.
Cloud9. Like maybe they're just not good enough, right? Like
Of course, but it just proves a point that they're also doing it just to check off a box saying, ha, see you guys? We also have a female roster.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, but you're doing it to throw them a bone. You're not doing it to actually because you believe in it. You're doing it to check off a box to say you did it. So.
Yeah. I mean, it just, again, I think at the end of the day, it's how good you are, right? So if you can prove that you're one of the best, then you'll you can get that chance. This is big for Potter. I think this is really big for, women players everywhere. Like if she can go in and really do well, or I believe there's also another female on the team, if I'm not mistaken.
There is, but Potter was the one I recognized.
Potter's the name.
No
right?
knock on anyone else on the team. Potter was
I feel bad in the sense I know there is a ton of pressure on them to come
like
out
I said,
and
I
play
hope
well.
it works
And I
out.
think if it starts bad, you'll start seeing Twitch chat let them know very quickly, and I can't wait to mute Twitch chat completely during their matches.
Twitch is good that they implemented their new harassment rules now. Get that ban button ready, because when EG plays, you're gonna have to use it for a bunch of idiots.
EG probably called Twitch and told them what they were doing. Let's get ahead of this.
You're gonna have to ban a bunch of morons in chat. That is for damn sure. In other Valorant news, you have former Dallas Fuel, Overwatch Pro Taimu, and Hype P team up with Entropic to form a team. So it's been a while since he announced that Taimu, that is, announced to move over to Valorant. I'm interested to see how this works out, because when he was on the Fuel, which obviously did not work out well for him, but he was always kind of known for being like, oh, Taimu's this top tier DPS, but he just never got to really show that. And I'm kind of curious now in a focused FPS, like a true FPS, how that plays out. So we'll see. I'm rooting for him anyways. And Silent X, sure, stands in for 100 Thieves while Nitro is out on baby leave. So congratulations to Nitro and the missus on their firstborn, as we mentioned before, kiss of death. So Nitro, congratulations on a good career.
At least you got your major early.
Yeah, good career, and congratulations in future retirement. So that's how it works. But I also saw Hiko say on stream that he might be playing this weekend. Let me tell you what, as a father, I'm going to say no, he's not. But I'm
But
not a
if you were a
professional
pro
gamer. I'm not a
father,
pro gamer, so
yeah,
might be a little different. Might be a little different. I tried convincing my wife that I'm a pro gamer, but she doesn't believe me. In Call of Duty, New York subliner star Zuma is forced to step down and retire from a lingering hand injury. Pretty much it's like his thumbs and stuff hurt. So gamers, take care of your hands. Take care of your hands.
Yeah, that sucks. He's still super young. I mean, he's been in the game for a long time, but still young.
Yeah.
And so,
Good for him.
big
though,
loss for the COD community though,
Yeah.
because like for him, he's such a prominent figure within Call of Duty. So it sucks to see him have to step down for this reason rather than him walking away on his own terms.
And if there's any proof in life that there is no such thing as karma,
I almost think I should save this for a Yikes on Monday.
do you want to?
Almost. No, go ahead. We've already started, but
Okay.
I should have thought about this before.
This is proof that there's no such thing as justice in this world. And it doesn't matter what you do because no one gives a damn at the end of the day. But it looks like Parasite might be signing with the London Royal Ravens. And if you're thinking, gee, Parasite, why does that sound familiar? Oh, that's right, because he was a nominee for Yikes of the Year in the Timmies. Because this man was last on a team last season in contenders, right, into the Challenger League, in the minors, and he was kicked off the team because he was caught DMing his teammate's girlfriend in the middle of a match.
Like mid-game. SMD round 6. Just quick timeout to hit up your teammate's girl on a DM.
In the middle of S&D, he asked for S&D.
Look, Parasite's like a drama starter, so I would love to see him in the league because he's talented. There's no doubt that he is like a talented player, but drama follows him everywhere he goes. So you know what? Bring him into the league. Let's go. Like, let's start spicing it up early. I'm okay with it.
Unbelievable. The Kickoff Classic results happened. If you watched it, I watched sparingly. And it's preseason, so take it for what you will. But Dallas looked pretty good, beating New York 3-0. Some other ones, Optic beat 100 Thieves or LA Thieves, in their debut back into Call of Duty 3-0.
Atlanta lost 3-2 against Florida. I thought that was, all of these are like, take it with a grain of salt, right? It was just fun that Call of Duty's back, and it's getting ready. It's about to be showtime. There's some fun matches. Really, I think the highlight that everybody was waiting for was the Optic LA matchup, and it didn't deliver at all. So, Chicago smacked them there. And
on a side note, starting, I guess, probably next week or in the next 2 weeks, because the season kicks off, the weekend of the 12th, 13th, 14th, Valentine's Day. So in 2 weeks, we will be kicking off our brand new show on YouTube, Esports Advisors. It will be a quicker, not huge in-depth. That's going to remain for the show, but it's going to kind of be revolved around betting, gambling on the upcoming Call of Duty League with a little game in the background as we total tallies, and we'll have a bet payoff for the end of the year. So keep an eye on YouTube for that. Esports Advisors. We'll obviously keep everyone up to date on Twitter and in Discord as well, but just FYI. And other FPS news, Halo Infinite promises info on a monthly developer update. Good.
Another opportunity for them to get into Yikes of the Week, usually.
Their only updates right now have been like semi-annual, and it's all been terrible news every time. So hopefully...
Shit should have been there the moment they announced the delay, right? Like to give some sort of like monthly...
When your game was supposed to come out in 2 weeks and then you delay it a year, I need I need weekly updates.
Something, right? So I will read the first one and we'll see how good this information is, right? Like if it's something that it's like, oh yeah.
I've seen more Halo news. I've seen more Halo news on Fortnite than I have from the actual Halo developers. So that's not a good sign, but fingers crossed. In Battle Royale news, speaking of Fortnite announces a $20 million prize pool in all their events for console and PC. So dedicating $20 million for the year.
$20 million dedicated to the casual gameplay. Love it.
Yeah.
That's You know, it's a big chunk of change. Giving back to all your casual fans out there,
You know,
for you casual gamers. Fortnite still. I don't care about the damn prize pool. I care about what are you doing
yeah.
to make this a viable
We've-
esport.
We've moved past prize pools in esports. I feel like that was cool 2 years ago.
Yeah,
It's 2021. We don't care about prize pools. 20 million, 40 million, doesn't matter. Like, what are you doing from a competitive standpoint? That's what I care about. In other news, Harry Hesketh, who was banned from FIFA 21 for your mom joke, has officially retired. So if anyone keeping up with that, he pretty much did a your mom joke. Like, that's not belittling what he pretty much did a your mom joke and got in trouble for
was
it.
it like racist or something that he said, or was
I
it
mean,
just like
the only thing I could assume, it was like kind of like an inappropriate sex your mom joke, and I think the kid was like 16 or whatever. So it's like, but still, like, it was a your mom joke.
it's weak?
Yeah. Battlefield 6 reportedly will be cross-gen reboot of Battlefield 3 with up to 128 player maps.
That gets me a little hard. Not gonna lie.
Especially after playing like Star Wars Battlefront 2 with like the large scale games. Like, I forgot what it was like just to get in a room with like 8 or 10 buddies and just having fun. But
No, it's like I've always enjoyed the Battlefield games also in general, so I'm happy that we go back to like a modern game as well too, so all of that gets me really excited and hopefully
modern,
that's
but not
too far
super
away.
future, like BF3
Yeah,
from
I don't
what I
want
remember.
like lasers and stuff. I
Yeah.
just want to be like, give me a normal AR.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of Battlefield 2, it recently went free to play, and we played it for our community night, and since then, still, I mean, fun game. I'll probably play it a little bit. Had 19 million downloads during its free week from Epic Store. 19 million.
That's crazy. First of all, it's not surprising because we've been playing a decent amount, and second you hit launch game, there's a game found for you with 60 plus players on it. But it's been awesome. Like, it's been fun to get back into, and I've enjoyed it as a casual game. Like, it's great for Battlefield 2. What a great deal to partner with Epic in this situation, because talk about rejuvenating your player base. For a game that was virtually dead on release because of how you handled your in-game currency system. This is huge. 19 million downloads, and even if a tenth of them stay, that it's really big for you.
Barstool has been partnering up with some big names, including Logan Paul and Nick Merckx, as you might be familiar with on the Twitch side of things. So making big pushes for the younger demo.
Logan Paul's such a tool, though. The fact that they would partner with him makes me question their knowledge of.
I mean, they're all about content. I don't.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I get it. He's a huge name, and he brings in a ton of people. Nick Merckx and Logan Paul are such polar opposites in terms of like a good dude versus Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Just a tool, and so.
Oh,
I love the Nick
disagree.
Merckx signing. I hate the Logan Paul.
You know me. I'm a stoolie. I love Barstool. That doesn't mean though I agree with everything. And the Logan Paul thing that's rough. I don't even like Nick Merckx in the sense of I've never watched his stream. Like, I've watched his stream for 5 minutes and said, okay, it's not for me. But I can also respect that he's a good dude. It's just not for not for everyone. Nothing wrong with that.
One of the most epic gaming rooms ever. If you have not
I would be his friend just for that.
Tour. Go check it out, guys. Awesome. It's on YouTube. Go check that out.
Vicarious Visions merges with Blizzard. They're the company behind the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remakes, the Crash Bandicoot remakes, things like that. Rumor is Blizzard is putting them all on the
hiatus.
Warcraft.
Oh, I thought they were letting them go.
They merged and letting them go. No, they've redone some things, and it got some people worried and upset with what their future plans are. So, I don't know. Blizzard's going to be Blizzard, I guess. And Netflix has announced a handful of series coming up here as far as kind of what to expect. And they are making a push towards the gamer, Anuj. Just looking at some of these. Castlevania Season 4, which I don't know if you've seen Castlevania on Netflix, but it is pretty good. Weird incest orgy scene though in season 3, so heads up on that one.
What episode and timestamp?
I feel like I have to say that every time I say Castlevania is a good show on Netflix, because if I tell you it's a good show, like, bro, you gotta see Castlevania. Season 3 was so badass, and then that comes up, you're gonna be like, what the shit, Tim? Like, what did you just make me watch? Because it's like this brother and sister orgy scene. Not like that's not cool. Look, I could have gone without seeing that.
Yeah, that probably would have been okay if that was edited out.
Very uncomfortable.
But they do have some pretty badass titles coming up here. Like the Resident Evil one gets me super excited. Splinter Cell, like Devil May Cry.
Cuphead. I'm excited for Cuphead.
Final
Cuphead
Fantasy.
Magic the Gathering. I'm assuming like a Game of Thrones type show. I don't really know.
Cyberpunk, like the live action Resident Evil, which is even 100 times better just thinking of that coming out.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed, like there's just so much. Tomb Raider. It's really insane, like the lineup that they have coming out. So if you're a gamer and you don't have a Netflix pass, bum it off one of your friends or sign up, because there's a shit ton of content coming out that you're going to want to be a part of. It gives us a lot of cool stuff, I think, I know these are not documentaries, but maybe we do like some series or reviews for seasons or something and mix it up.
Not a bad idea. Also, we do have a listener suggested a documentary in Discord for Dota as well.
About just did a League of Legends one. Can people come up with something new, guys?
About OG specifically. So about their run.
The back-to-back winners over there.
Yeah. So I guess that warrants something. We'll check it out though. We'll check it out and maybe do the doc review. Oh, sometime coming up here in February. Probably should do that soon because we're gonna get busy with CDL and all that kicking off as well. So we'll see. Maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll have an idea. So, but that's it. That does it. Big E news, but there was a lot to catch up to. Always a big E news on when you're off for a week. Like a lot of that was catch up, but is what it is, homie. We will be back for real this time to our normal scheduled days. So we'll be back Sunday night to record episode 303. Shout out Colorado, Denver. Talk some CS, some Valorant. I'm sure hopefully maybe a big team gets knocked out early with the open pool. Give us something to talk about. We'll see. We'll see what's up. Maybe some breaking news will happen in between now and then, and we will be on it. But follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. Be a part of the conversation in our Discord. We have a League of Legends Fantasy League. Listener Joey was kind enough to set that up, so we get a part of that. Links in the Discord as well. And that's it. That's all I got. Website, tcr.gg. Everything you need to know there. For Anuj, I'm Tim. We'll see ya.